What's up, everybody? Tony Cutillo here, Tony Cutillo Show. A little somber tonight. Obviously, make sure you like and subscribe. I'm live everywhere, whether it be live on X, live on YouTube, live on Facebook. I want people to check in because obviously, listen, we know how this goes. We've been here so many freaking times, but I want to address a lot of different things, and because I posted something on Facebook, I'm getting a bunch of different opinions, and I think everybody doesn't understand for the most part where I'm headed, why I'm headed that direction, and what my meaning for it all is. Look, I mean, unless you've been under a rock, unless you didn't realize what was going on, yeah, we lost. We came up short again. Phillies come up short in LA, and again, they just don't get it done. They disappoint once again. We've been here before. We continue to be here. We continue to never show up in the postseason, right? Since 2022. There's so many different things, and we're gonna go through it all. But I have to say this because I'm going through my comments and I'm going through and listen, if you are live right now, if you're watching on Facebook, because I know I have a lot of Facebook viewers that view this later, and but get involved, please. Bring the comments. Listen, you want to get on the air? I will send you the link. You can call into the show. If you want to vent, if you don't want to call a radio station and you actually want to sit here and have a conversation, and let's have it. Okay. Number one, like and subscribe. Number two, hit the notifications. As always, Tony Cutillo Show right here. But you felt it, right? I mean, how many people you felt it the entire game? You knew where this was going. You knew where this was going. They had multiple opportunities. And again, yeah, David checking in says Tigers will win tomorrow night in Seattle. I mean, listen, I got to watch playoff baseball again without my Philadelphia Phillies. I have to do it again. But I think this game is so symbolic of what happens next more than anything. We could sit here and talk about Rob Thompson. We could sit here and talk about Orion Kirkering. We could sit here and talk about who should have been left in, who should have been brought in. We could talk about all that. But you know what? It really doesn't matter because, I'm going to cross-sec this a little bit, but we just watched the Eagles get their teeth beat in by the New York Football Giants. At New York's house. Okay, we watched it, and one of the things I took away from that game was you look at guys like Jackson Dart, you look at guys like Cam Scatterbo. These guys inserted a newfound energy into the team, a newfound energy into the stadium. Well, guess what? Guess what? Maybe it's time for the Phillies to do the same exact thing. Maybe it's time for the Phillies to say, you know what? This isn't working. Like, I don't know how much you got to do this, man. I don't know how much you got to go through the same lineup. Like, honestly, I'm going to say something. People are not going to, you can't bring back Kyle Schwarber. I'm going to, you at me all day long. It's impossible. You just can't do it. And again, this has nothing to do with Kyle Schwarber, the person. This has everything to do with what this lineup has done every single postseason. Eventually, you just gotta stop. Eventually, you gotta change directions. And you can't do that with paying millions and millions and millions of dollars to players that are gonna underperform when the lights are on. Again, I don't understand. I don't understand. And I want to touch on we're going to touch on a lot of this. Again, if you're live, check it in. Let me know how you're feeling. What do you want to get off your chest? If you want to listen, if you want to chime in, just hop in the comments. We'll have a conversation. Okay? I had a lot of Facebook comments. A lot of people on Facebook dropping me the comments. Let me know how they feel. And I agree and I disagree. Right? I think I wrote something on Facebook, okay, and I'm going to read it to you, okay. I'm going to read it to you, and I just want to let everybody know where I'm coming from, okay. So I wrote, not everyone will agree, but give it a rest on Orion Kirkering. Nobody knows more than him that he choked. He knows. He gets it. Okay. The fact is, we have a $1 billion lineup that has let us down time after time. Be mad. Absolutely sure. But burying a young pitcher and calling him an idiot and sending him stupid messages and being a complete friggin' asshole does absolutely nothing. Okay. I've seen this personally in youth sports. Okay. Guys go through, I don't care if he's a professional, he's still a human being. He's a 24-year-old pitcher. Okay. He's 24 years old. He choked. He's never going to get over it. It's always going to be in the back of his mind. And guess what? He's going to be able to do that without your toxicity, man. He's going to be able to do that. So you can at me all day long. At me all day long. I will say this again. At no time in that message and in that post did I ever say he shouldn't get some blame. I've never said that. Of course, you got to make the play. Of course, everything was there. You just choked in a big moment. However, we should have not been in that inning. We should have never let it get to that point. There were so many different things. We could talk about them all day long. And I get it. You got to make plays. You're going to hear, oh, you got to make play. I get it. I understand that. Stop. Again, this is what happens when your high-priced talent doesn't produce. It's very simple. It's very simple. The same thing happened in Nick Castellanos. We relied on Nick Castellanos, who we all know isn't the smartest player in the world. He'll admit that. We know that. We know his limitations. Bat on ball, bat on ball. I get paid to hit baseballs. That's what he said. We all know it. We all understand it. So why put him in a situation where all of a sudden you want him to be a rocket scientist? The same thing happens with Orion Kirkering. We know. We get it. He should have made the play. I get it. I understand. I absolutely understand. However, two things. Number one, we know. Listen, even though I disagree with some of the stuff my man Joe said, he was right on one thing. Listen, Orion has been horrible in situations this year. Horrible with men on base. So why would you put him in that situation? That's on Topper. And guess what? When your billion-dollar players don't produce, and again, you're worried about the bottom of the lineup, and you're worried about the relief pitchers who don't come in big situations, this is what happens. It's very simple. It's very, very, very simple. I will say this. I was going back and forth with my daughter. She was like, I don't get the manager. Actually, guess what? Rob Thompson managed a pretty good game. Say what you want. He managed a really good game. He can't make Bader not swing at that pitch. He can't make Duran not walk in a run, right? He can't do that. The players didn't execute. The players are not performing. And if they're not performing and they're not executing, you have to move on. You have to move on from the players you have the ability to move on from. Listen, I think in a great postseason, I love JT Realmuto. I love him. Got to go. Kyle Schwarber. Got to go. Like, you can say whatever you want. If you answer me this, and I'm going to get to the comments, I promise. Okay, but you know me, I go off and I get on these tangents and I got to keep going. But please explain to me one thing. If you go out and you sign Kyle Schwarber to $160 to $200 million, you go out and you bring back Nick Castellanos again, okay? And go out and you bring back JT Realmuto again. What are you doing differently? You are going to be in the same situations with the same lineup that is not all of a sudden going to perform in the postseason. I don't know what it is. I'm not sure what it is, but here's the problem too. Herein lies the problem. We got spoiled. We got spoiled again. You know why we got spoiled? Because they gave us that run. And remember, we were all talking about it. I talked about at the beginning of the year before they had the run. I said, I'm not convinced, man. Until they show, I'm not going to buy in. I'm not going to buy in. I said that. I'm not buying in until they show me they can get done in the big games. I said, I'm not going to buy in. I'm not going to buy in. I'm not going to buy in. Guess what? After they choked against the Mets in that series, that 3-game series, they got swept. I bought in when they came back and they went on that, what they went like 15 out of 16, or, they just went absolutely bonkers. I bought in at that moment. And I'm pissed off that I did, because the same goddamn result happened. And it's going to continue to happen, man. Listen, I love the moments that we have. I love the memories that we have. It didn't come out to a championship. Okay. It didn't come out to a World Series. I get it. So guess what? You got to rebuild and do it all over again. You got young guys down in the minors. Okay. You got to bring them up. Okay. You got to change. Listen, unfortunately, Rob Thompson's going to go. It's just the way baseball works. It's the way baseball works. I think Rob's a great guy. I like the way that he stays calm. However, that can be a negative as well. Okay? That can be. I'm sorry. I don't know about you, but number one, if you watched any of the post press conferences, Kyle Schwarber talked like a guy who knows he's done. Kyle Schwarber knows he's done. He was crying. He understood when they asked him the question. He talked about relationships and family. It's tough. He knows he's gone. He's gone. Kyle Schwarber will not be back as a Philadelphia Philly. I think he knows that. I think he realizes that. I think those players are smart enough to know that Kevin Long is going to be gone. They also know Rob Thompson is most likely going to be gone. Okay, you cannot continue to keep getting the same spot. And honestly, some of this is not on Rob. But again, we watched Andy Reid for the Philadelphia Eagles. How long did we watch Andy Reid try and try and try and try? And guess what? He couldn't get it done. But he went somewhere else and he got it done. And guess what? We brought in somebody else who got it done. So you have to look at it that way. Okay. But I don't disagree with a lot of Topper's decisions. I don't. I would have, to a lot of the people that checked in, I would have 100% left in Luzardo. I would have not took Luzardo out. If I rolled with Ranger Suarez yesterday for 4 or 5 innings, why the hell would I not roll with Jesus Luzardo when he was dealing? And he knew that. See, there is again, there lies the goddamn analytic part. The analytics will always be the thing that ruins Rob Thompson. Rob Thompson is one of those guys, okay, that doesn't always go with the gut. Every now and then, but he needs to go with it more. He wants to go with all those situations, which I understand the way baseball works. But again, sometimes it seems like he's so dead set on what his plan is. He never veers off the plan. He never veers off the plan. Tonight, he should have veered off the plan. 100%. Let me get to some comments, man. My man Jim checking in. Jim says, bring up a yes. See, all in with Jim right here. Says, bring up Aiden Miller. 100%. Bring up Crawford. 100%. Right? Bring up Painter. Put Miller third. Like, trade Bo. Not a clear. Like, again, I'm in. I'm in with anything because, again, it has to change. Jim knows it. We all know it. It's got to change. It's time to pivot. It's time to blow it up. It's time to change recourse. It's time to do everything. It's not working. Javon checking in says, Luzardo in 3 days was executing. And please, for the love of God, stop giving me Matt Strom. Stop giving me Matt Strom. Okay, I'm so over. I don't care what he did. I don't care if he got out of it. I don't really care. The guy does nothing for me. Throws 92 miles an hour. And every time he's on the mound, he either gives up a hit or he's bitching at himself because he keeps missing spots. Because he knows if he doesn't hit the spot, a 92 is going to be out into wherever, the roof. And it's going to be out into Bull's Barbecue at Citizens Bank Park. Doesn't matter to me. Call the Pirates and see what they want for Skeens. I wish. I wish. My man Joe checking in says tough night. Oh man, tough night, bro. You ain't lying. This is a tough night. My art history 101 life hurts. Yeah, you're right. Life hurts tonight, bro. Life hurts 100%. Life hurts. Do we fire? I actually we can't fire. Well, you could fire Dombrowski, but I don't. I listen. I can't put this all on Dombrowski. Like the you got to eventually put the blame on the players. Mary Jo checking in says totally agree, Tony. No hits from big names. Durant walking a run in. It's the whole team that lost this series. Yeah, I'll tell you, Mary Jo, I was so disappointed that they let that Durant walk that run in. I was so disappointed. And again, I'm gonna be honest, man. Like I look at things and I'm gonna say something that probably piss some people off and think I'm being over the top, but maybe Duran's not built for this. And here's what I mean. I understand he came in the next inning and he did his job, but you gave up the lead, right? You gave up the lead. And then even though you came out and you went 1, 2, 3 in the next inning, they put the camera on you and you're in there with JT and you're laughing it up, having a good laugh session. Thanks, Duran. Having a good laugh. What's so freaking funny? What's so funny? I'm curious. It's funny that we gave up the lead. It's funny that we walked the run in. Be pissed off. Throw a fucking glove. Kick a Gatorade jug. I don't fucking know. Do something. Do something. But don't laugh. Don't have a good time. That's supposed to be having a good time. I feel bad for Christopher Sanchez. Pitched his ass off. Again. Got nothing. Go call Cole Hamels. Hey, go call Cole Hamels. Because he knows how it feels for offenses not to show up. It's ridiculous. I'm sorry. Like, you're in a big situation. Durant should not be laughing in the clubhouse after he gave up a lead. I'm sorry. Just shouldn't be happening. He shouldn't be giving up. Oh, man, Tyler, check it out. Priority one should be letting go Kevin Long. Listen, you know what? I don't. Here's the thing, Tyler. I think it's just a formality, right? I think we know that they're going to have to get rid of him. But the thing I don't agree with is it's not going to do anything. Like I honestly like these guys. It's just like Ben Davis said it right after the post game. He said he didn't like the approach. What happened? All of a sudden they go back to that let's swing and for the fences approach, right? All of a sudden let's swing for the fences approach again. Not let's make contact. Let's not inside out a ball. Let's swing for the fences and try to be a hero. I don't care if it's me, Tyler. I don't care if it's you. I don't care if it's Kevin Long. I don't care if it's David Ortiz. I don't care if it's Jim Thome. I don't care if it's Ichiro. I don't think these players give a shit. I don't. I think they have their own mindset. Okay. And that's what happens. Again, they have their own mindset and they're going to do what we want to do. Here's an interesting one. Javon checking in says Bryce Harper's press conference. Like, do it for me either. Are we watching him regress? I'll tell you what, Javon. I didn't see it. I'm gonna go watch it when we're done. Now that you pointed out, but I brought this up last show, and I'm gonna bring it up again, man. It's a shame, but I think we're definitely not only are we seeing a regression, but the mindset I think in Philadelphia right now has to shift. The mindset has to shift to where no longer can Bryce Harper win you a World Series. That's over. Those days are done. Like those days are done. Think about that. Like we've seen the best. Those days are done. Right? It's like when we're wearing a Sixers hat, right? Like when I said a few years ago, Joel Embiid would never win a championship with the Philadelphia 76ers. Right? Well, guess what? Bryce Harper is never going to lead the Phillies to a World Series. Somebody else may, and Bryce may be on the team, but Bryce has just shown he can't carry it anymore. And I'm going to be honest with you. I don't really blame him that much. I'm going to be honest. And here's what I mean. I think we all sometimes, as much, even myself, I'm a big a big person who does this a lot, and I shouldn't. Is I know they make a lot of dollars, right? And they are human beings as well. Um, look, my man, hold on, my man Ed, this got to be a Dodgers fan, right? I like Ed. Are you a Dodgers fan? I like when Dodgers people check in. It's cool. Like, let's have a conversation. Uh, I like because if you're a Dodgers fan, you're telling me to stop freaking out over the Phils. They have a great team, and they just met the mighty Dodgers. They don't have a great team. They have a very good team. A great team understands situational hitting. A great team, they don't leave runs on the board consistently. A great team doesn't put their team and put other players in their inferior players in situations that they shouldn't have to be in. Great teams go out and they produce. Great teams find a way. Okay. They were never going to win. Only one team can win it all. I don't even know what like, come on, Ed. I mean, that's kind of an obvious statement, right? Relax, only one team can win it all. I understand, right? I think I understand that. But to say they were never going to win, I firmly disagree. No, like, yeah, we made the percentages made a bit against them a little bit. I never underestimate the Dodgers. I said whoever wins this series is going to the World Series in the National League. I specifically said it, and I think a lot of people would agree with that. Right? The Dodgers are a highly talented team, man. I no, like I've never taken it away from them, and I'll be honest with you. To watch our pitchers and Sanchez and Luzardo dial in on Otani, and they made Otani and Freddie Freeman look pedestrian. That's not easy to do. Like, you think about that. They made them look pedestrian, bro. Like, seriously, that's unbelievable. So I want to get back to Bryce real fast. And Javon, if you're still listening, let me know if this is on to what you're thinking. But well, I think we both agreed on the last show that his mindset seemed to be different all year, especially when he came back from the injury. He just wasn't the same guy. I didn't see the sense of urgency in him. I didn't see anything. I don't know if it was like I'm not going to say going through the motions, but I don't know if it was kind of him being like, I've been here before. I'm just going to kind of work my way through this. But I definitely don't think he was ever 100% right with the wrist. I still think he holds a little bit of a grudge that he didn't get a contract extension. I still also think, that a little bit of him is a little jealous, okay, of Kyle Schwarber, meaning Kyle Schwarber being the guy that carried him all season, and it wasn't Bryce. I do think that. John checking in says, Eagles, Eagles lose, Phillies lose, Flyers lose. This might be the worst day in the history of Philadelphia, even worse than that stupid Bell crack. Yo, John, thanks, brother. I needed that laugh, bro. Like, nah, it is a bad day. Again, anybody new here checking in live, checking in, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Greatly appreciate it. I am Tony Cutillo. It's the Tony Cutillo Show. Bets on the show, not tonight, but when we do the betting stuff, it's all powered by our partners over there at BetQL and Odd Shopper Tales. Yeah, it's a pretty bad day, John. Pretty bad day. Alex checking in. Alex says Schwarber, Harper, and Turner aren't going to carry you there. Same thing for the Mets. Soto, Lindor, and Alonso aren't going to get it done. And I'm a Mets fan. Need pitching depth. Plain and simple. Yeah, you know what, Alex? I agree with you. I do. And I listen, as a Mets fan, I appreciate you checking in. I do. And I think we're both feel listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. For me, for your team, specifically, when we talk about the Mets, I think Soto's your downfall. And I think Juan Soto is the downfall because mentally, he's just kind of like a cancer, man. Like he's not a good teammate. He's not a good example. I think he brings things down a little bit, and it's not a surprise to me that some of that kind of bled in towards the end of the year. So yeah, listen, those three guys aren't going to carry you there. Oh, well, you know what though? I I think they can with the pitching combined. And I think you may agree. Like, let's look at your this year: Soto, Lindor, Alonso. If you have three, like take it back in the day, man. Like if the Grom's back with you and Scherzer's back, right? If they're on their like, I think that solid nucleus of two or three bats and two or three pitchers is going to get it done. And that's the problem. Our pitching was there. And so those three guys, one of them aren't, but all three of them need to be there, and they just weren't, right? They just weren't. They didn't come up. So that's one of the problems. The other problem I want to get to with Bryce is, he may not just he may be shutting down a little bit mentally. You know, if you and indirectly, right? Indirectly, the guy just had his fourth child. His wife, he talked about his wife and how strong she is and being in labor and having the child while postseason's going on. When you get to a certain age, and you have to remember when Bryce Harper, 18 years old, playing in Major League Baseball, 18, 19, I forget if it was 18 or 19, but just for lack of conversation, or just for the point of the conversation, let's say 18. Right? I mean, the guy's been in the league for 12 to 15 years. Okay. So that's a lot of baseball, even if you're 31, 32. It's a lot of baseball, especially when you're a player who plays with reckless abandon, especially if you're a player who, again, his swing is very violent and angry, right? So eventually, some of that can catch up to you. But fatherhood sometimes make you just with a normal mindset slow down. I'll attribute. I'll look at it myself. I don't have babies anymore, right? My sons are young adults. My daughter is a young adult, but my daughter doesn't live home anymore. But my two sons, they live home, and guess what? If I have opportunities to spend time with them because they're busy going to school, working full-time jobs, having a social life, if I have opportunities, I'm dropping everything to have opportunities with them. So you think about it, maybe some of the extracurricular stuff, and I'm not saying this in a bad way, just indirectly, man. Bryce, like I'm trying to be a dad too, and sometimes that weighs on you, and it brings it mellows you out a little bit, I should say, right? So I just don't think that we saw the best version of Bryce Harper this year for whatever reason it is, but that's more of a reason on we really need to think about what we're doing going forward. Because if we're talking about Bryce Harper and we're saying that he can't carry this team to a World Series anymore, and we don't want to give Kyle Schwarber 160 to 200 million dollars to come in and give us a couple Schwarber bombs and then be 0 for 25 or whatever the hell it is, right? Maybe we don't want to do that. We're locked into Trey Turner forever, so that's never going to change. But right now, man, like the pitching's not the issue. It's the inconsistent at bats. And I don't know what's even more frustrating. Is it, and let me ask you guys this, and girls, whoever's checking in, is it more frustrating that it's the same thing year in and year out in the postseason with the bats? Or is it more frustrating to watch the other team find a way to get hits and not make excuses? Like, again, we always make the excuses, right? We always make the excuses. Announcers make the excuses. Coaches make the excuses. Podcasters, radio hosts, they all make the excuses. Well, Glass Al was really good. There were shadows. Well, they're pitching Bryce hard. I don't want to hear they're pitching Bryce hard. I don't want to hear they're pitching this guy harder. They're trying. I don't care. You need to figure out a way to get it done because you are a professional, right? You are a professional. At the end of the day, you are a professional, a highly, highly paid and skilled professional that needs to figure out a way to get it done. I'm sorry. That's not going to cut it for me. And we consistently do that. And that's what really pisses me off because if I look across to the other dugout, guess what? I see them making adjustments. I see them making adjustments. I don't get it. Alex checking in says, I've actually had the same conversation with other people. As a father myself, I think it's definitely a factor if you're a new dad. 100% agree with you. Alex, exactly. Like, again, I'm not a new dad, but I also remember what it was like. I have 3 children. I remember what it was like. I remember the grind. And I'm going to be honest, man. And again, this is where people can't disconnect career and life, right? This is where they can't disconnect it. And I'm here to say that you're supposed to, and you have to, because me, like I go back years of my early career, what I used to do for work, and when I worked at crazy hours at a plant atmosphere as a shift worker, and I worked 16, 20-hour days, flip-flop nights and days, was crazy. I missed the shit out of my kids, right? I missed the shit out of my kids. I wanted to spend every minute with my kids, but I knew I couldn't because I had to go to work, right? Well, do you think that's not the same as what Bryce is feeling? And again, I'm not listen, again, I know you're gonna have these idiots that check, oh, he's getting paid 400 million. Who cares? Come on, man. Like, that's the market. Like, stop it. Like, if somebody makes $100,000 a year, did they say you should think differently than the guy that makes $40,000 a year? Like, honestly, I mean, like, I'm talking about the human being element. And I think we all take that out of the equation sometimes. I'm not saying we have to relate to these superstars and these celebrities, but what I am saying is somehow, somewhere, you have to realize that they are also an individual. They're also going to make bad decisions. They're also going to have a different mindset. They're also going to have to face different obstacles in life as a parent, as a husband, right? Or a wife, or an aunt, or an uncle, or a daughter or a son. This is normal. So when you are a baseball player and you're always on the road, or you're going away, you have all this stuff going on, fatherhood comes in hard, whether it's your first child, your fourth child, it doesn't make it any easier. It still doesn't make it any easier. I'm sure there's times where those guys are in the clubhouse and they're going, damn, I wish I was home. Damn, I wish I was with my boy, with my girl, right? I'm sure they do. That's normal. I can get mad at that. That's normal. What are you supposed to do? Fight that off? Oh, I'm here to do a job. Can't think about that. Come on, man. Like, that's reality, right? That's reality. Again, let's pivot this conversation. Again, that's one of the reasons why the insertion of youth is so friggin' important. The insertion of youth is so important because they don't have those extracurriculars. It's like attributed to, and I think a lot of guys and girls who tune into this or don't tune into this or hear about it are going to respect and understand. Look at the radio business, right? Let's think about the radio business for a second. When these young kids try to break into the radio business, how many do you see them? How many of them do you see living in these big wealthy houses? How many of them do you see driving these Beamers and Benz, right? No, you know what they do? They eat ramen noodles. They live in one-bedroom apartments, right? They live on a highly strict budget because they know they're not going to make a lot of money, right? They know that what the end game is, but they have to be 100% laser focused in order to understand and perfect their craft. That's what they know. No distractions, right? No distractions. Well, guess what? The same with Bryce Harper when he was playing Washington, when he didn't have those distractions. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. You know what I'm saying? That they are life distractions, bro. Like, it's what happens. So I just look at this And I go, eventually, Bryce may just mentally shut down at times. And we may hate it and we may not agree with it, but it's reality, right? It's reality. And that let's circle that back again to Ryan Kirkry. I watched his press conference and I loved it. He knew, like I said, tears in his eyes, welting up. He knows, he gets it, right? And if I'm not mistaken, somebody wants to help me out, especially somebody that's a Philly fan, because you would know this. Uh, didn't Orion, when he came into the World Series with the Houston Astros, remember, got called up? They showed his dad in the stands. He was choked up, right? But during that series, didn't he give up that bomb to Valdez, right? Like at 22 and now at 24, right? He chokes on a big stage. Like again, this dude's going through the ringer. Right? He's going through the ringer. Like, yes, he's expected to make that play. Yes, he's a professional. Right? I get it. I don't like. We don't have to hash that out. Like, we don't have to. And I know, and I highly respect everybody that checked in on Facebook and continues to check in, because I had like 25, 30 comments and going back and forth when I posted it. And again, I will agree. Like, I understand both sides, but just because you should have made a play, just because we all know that you choked, doesn't justify questioning people's intelligence, doesn't justify questioning their character, doesn't justify sending them threats and stupid messages, because you know what's going to happen. You know what's going to happen. It always happens. It does. It's a shame. Like, I'm just saying, push that energy. I don't want that negative energy on anybody. But what I'm saying is push that energy in a more laid back kind of way towards what really happened, which is a $1 billion lineup that was an absolute bust once again. Phillies choking LA. Another October disaster, man. Blow it up. Like I said, I am ready to blow it up. And I also want to give a shout out and I want to give credit because I'm a Ruben Amaro guy. I love Ruben Amaro Jr. I don't care what anybody says. I know people don't like him in the booth. People don't like him, on post game letter. Again, people just hate the hate, man. That's what half the people online do. They hate the hate. But Rube finally, like, he's one of them dudes, in my opinion, he keeps it real, right? So when people were bitching, like again, they were saying, well, Tyler Glass now, man, he had some really good stuff, and he kept the hitters honest, and yeah, whatever, right? What happened? Rube got right in, and I respect the shit out of Rube. And Rube was like, hey, listen, yeah, you're right. He did pitch well, but he left a lot of fastballs center cut right over the plate that these players missed, that your high priced talent missed. You know what, Rube? Good for you. Good for you, Rube, because not everybody's going to do that. But you know what? Nobody's going to give Ruben the benefit of that point. They're just going to rip Ruben about some other stupid shit that they find out, right? But again, that's what I'm talking about. Let's put the onus on where it really needs to be. And that onus is on the lineup. It will always be on the lineup. I'll say it again. Rob Thompson, except for a move here or there, didn't lose because of his managerial moves. He put guys in the proper positions that he needed them to execute, and they didn't do it. They didn't do it. It's very, very simple. Very simple. I said it earlier. Okay? He set it up, brings Duran in. Duran's your guy, right? Duran's your guy. I'm gonna say this again because there's some new people checking in. Duran's supposed to be your guy. When he came in, I said it to my wife sitting there watching the game. I said, just be careful. When he walked Otani, I said, just be careful. This dude pitched in Minnesota. He has no idea what kind of environment that he's coming into in the postseason with the game on the line. Is he built for it? I'm going to be honest with you. No. I'm going to tell you no. And you know what? Here's where people, I want the fair weather fans to come at me when they redo this stream or they watch it later. Because a lot of people be like, what are you talking about? He showed up. He was there. He struck 3 guys out. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Rewind for a second. He gave up the winning run. He gave up the, it essentially turned into a winning run, right? But he walked a run in. He threw high, 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 high. Mookie Betts. Mookie Betts is like, dude, I am not even taking the bat off. Again, that's what he said. He hung him out to dry, and the guy came in to score 1-1. So again, if you gave up a lead, I don't care if you went in the next inning and struck out the side. I don't want to see you in the clubhouse laughing. I don't want to see you in the clubhouse having a good time. If I see that, to me, you're not built. You're not built for that moment because you should be pissed off still. Get on that iPad. I don't give a shit what you do. You should be pissed off that you gave up that run. Not going in there with a towel, laughing and giggling and having a good time. I'm sorry, that doesn't bode well with me. You could say I'm wrong. I don't care. That doesn't bode well with me. My man Andrew checking in. What's up, Andrew? Yes. Big names came up small. And again, Andrew, once again. Javon says it's funny how Alec Boehm had the best plate appearances tonight and Cassie scored the only run. Isn't that funny? But you know what, Javon? Here's the thing, though. Why, you know this, but why was it? Why was it that they had the best appearances? Why did Boehm have the best appearance? And why did Cassie have the best hit? Why? You know why? Because they weren't trying to be heroes, just swinging for the fence. Cassie's just trying to make contact. He says it all the time. He's trying to make contact. Boehm did the same thing. Everybody else trying to be a hero. That's why everybody else trying to be a hero. Ed checking in again. Ed said, good pitching beats good hitting. Snell, Otani, Glasnow, Yamamoto, and Sasaki made Philly sluggers look bad. Dodgers won 2 games by 1 run and the other by 2. Phillies ran into the Dodger pitching. Again, Ed, can you answer me this? I don't disagree, Ed. I don't. And I really, really appreciate you checking in. So if you I appreciate you like and subscribe because I would like to have the conversation. But I want to ask you this. Can't you tell me that the Phillies pitching was really good? Suarez, Lazardo, Sanchez, Nola, really good, right? Dodgers ran into our good pitching, but again, the Dodgers found a way to win the frigging game. They still found a way to make good contact and inside out, wait on that changeup. Kiki friggin' Hernandez, again, had some of the best at bats. Kiki Hernandez. What did he do? He waited on changeups. He went the other way. What did Teoscar Hernandez say? I don't need to be a hero. I just need to hit the ball. I see him do it twice in this series. Okay. And he did one of it tonight. He waited on the pitch. He stayed back, kept his hands back, and put the ball in the right field for a hit. Very, very simple. We didn't do that. So, yes, you're right. We faced some excellent pitching, but there was opportunities there, especially tonight against Glasnow. Especially against, and it didn't happen. The Lundy family checking it. Yo, oh my God. You know what? Let me say this. That right there just shows you how much Bader meant to the team. All right. Because again, and I don't know what would have happened. Like, you know, what they still kept casting because casting wasn't great either. Yeah, he did that too, but besides that, he was not great. But Marsh was just so terrible at the plate. I mean, he looked completely lost again. Like just completely lost his confidence, completely lost. It was an abomination. My man Chen said, dang, tough mom. Like tonight's just a really bad vibe. And you know what the bad vibe is? AB, I'm gonna call you AB. Is that both of these teams, how they lost, the energy level was so weak afterwards. Right? Like even on that Eagles game, that team just doesn't look right. They don't even look like they like each other. They look like they're all fighting amongst each other. I constantly watch Kevin Patullo on the sideline, and I watch like the dirty looks back and forth with him and Jalen. Like something's not right, man. So yeah, it's a tough night, man. It's a tough night. Lonnie Founds, Dodgers kept putting pressure with walks and singles. Yep, exactly. Exactly. And then honestly, they did a few times. They did a few times, actually multiple times in this series, and we just didn't take advantage of it. Second and third. Nobody out again last night. I know we won, but didn't take advantage of it. Tonight, multiple times, first and third, didn't take advantage of it. Ed says, yes, Philly, very good pitching, but the difference was Dodger pitching put them over the top because they held down those. Listen, I now Ed, I don't disagree. I don't. However, if you are supposed to be one of the top players in baseball at your position, at your spot of the lineup, you got to figure out a way. Like the Dodger pitching is good, yes, but come on, man. Like you got to figure out a way. It's very simple. You got to figure out a way. Even back in the day, when you look at the Atlanta Braves of old with Glavine and Smoltz and Avery, right? You look at that, even when they were dominant, people still found a way to hit them. Professional hitters still found a way to hit them, especially in big spots, right? There was a couple times that I thought, oh, wow, that's a great job. They worked the count. But like, how many times are we going to hear about working counts? We don't pay I think it's like $927 million for three guys to work counts, right? We pay $927 million for those guys to hit the ball and bring, like Middleton says, bring his fucking trophy back, right? Let's be honest. That's what we paid them for. Pitchers did their job in Philly this year. They did more than their job. And guess what? Bats let them down again. I honestly have to wonder though what people are seriously, because this is going to fester for a little bit, but it's over, right? There's nothing we can do, man. Like it's done. It's over. I know sports radio is going to talk about it every single day. WIP, the Fanatic, going to talk about it every single day, over and over and over and over. Right? I get it. That's what they have to do, right? Each host has his own opinion. People want to hear it. Understandable. I'm not going to listen because I just don't feel like listening to the same thing over and over again. I want more interesting conversations. I want conversations about what are we doing? Where are we going from here? Because it instantly has to shift, right? It instantly has to shift. And like I said, and I'll continue to say it, if you watch the presser in the post game of Kyle Schwarber when he was asked, I'm going to tell you, man, I don't think he's coming back. And I don't think we should bring him back. Like, I honestly, I don't, because I just think that bringing him back is just asking for the same thing over and over and over again with this lineup. And obviously, it hasn't worked right now. So something different, something's got to change. Something's got to change, man. It just has to change. Good players move on all the time. We have a farm system, right? See that? Here's something I didn't know. JT didn't want to talk about free agents during his presser. He looked pissed. You know, I really dig JT. I do, man. That dude is a warrior. Uh, you know, when we got him, I was so happy when we made that trade, but I didn't realize how good he really was. Obviously, he could play for the Marlins, right? So we always hear, we never know, but his work ethic and his professionalism and the command he has with the pitching staff and you know, it wasn't him. He swung the bat pretty well. But I would honestly say, Javon, that at this point, I think we all know that JT's not going to get like monster money. Right? He's not going to get monster money. He's going to get decent money, but not monster money. I'm to the point right now. I say bring him back and not Schwarber. I'd rather pay JT than pay a big contract to Schwarber, and quite honestly, because I need something. Something needs to work out differently, man. That no Schwarber in the lineup, no Castellanos in the lineup. And I always say that, and I love Nick. Nick's my guy. I do. I love Nick. I just think that everything that happened this year with the benching, with the press conferences and all that, I think that there's a lot of negativity and a lot of resentment within that club that I just don't feel like there's any way he can come back. I really don't. I don't. Well, what are we talking about? Like, these people come in, I have no idea what they're talking about. So Ed says, even though I'm a Dodger fan, really like your show, Tony. I understand the postmortem and handwriting, but gotta wait till Ed, thank you. I appreciate it, Ed. See, I'm gonna be honest with you, this is what I like, right? I like because again, what I what I did when the Houston Astros were in the World Series against the Phillies, I would do post games, and I actually became friendly with a lot of Astro fans because I don't kick people out from the other team, and I don't because I think that there's a way that we can both understand each other, right? I want to learn because again, my hat's off. Like I don't hate the Dodgers. Like I hate the Mets. Right? I still let Mets fans in here. Like earlier, Alex is a Mets fan. That's cool. Like because I think we could have the same kind of. I'm still gonna hate them, right? But I honestly don't hate the Dodgers. I'm talking about the team. I'm not hating Alex. I like Alex. I'm talking about the players. But I think it's a really good team. It really is. And I think you'll agree with this, Ed, that I said whoever's going to win the Phillies and the Dodgers series is going to the World Series. I think it's a foregone conclusion. There's no way that the Cubs or the Brewers are going to be able to beat the Dodgers, and I didn't think either one of them would have been able to beat the Phillies. Obviously, though, after watching the night, maybe they could have. Like, let's be honest. Lundy says JT is more. Yes, I agree. And that's a great point. That is a great. This is what and this is what I'm talking about. This is where you have to look at it. See, everybody's just gonna think bat, 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 right? And I bring it back, and Ed, you're gonna be perfect for this, okay? And because I want you to chime in on this when I say it. The Dodgers have all the money in the world because of ownership, right? We all know that. They can pay whatever they want to whoever they want. Just buy everybody. They buy every Japanese player. They could buy any superstar, make any trade, deplete the farm. So it doesn't matter. They do whatever they want. However, I think one of their most important signings ever was Teoscar Hernandez. And when they brought in Teoscar Hernandez, again, he wasn't the shiny name, right? This is a guy that was doing a couple one-year contracts at the time. He wasn't a shiny name, but he was a different player, a right-handed power bat that they really needed in the lineup. He wasn't a guy that was going to command $300 million. It's not like you're talking about he was bringing Vlad Guerrero Jr. here. They brought in Teoscar Hernandez. And what did Teoscar Hernandez do? He completely shifted the entire Dodgers lineup and became an MVP basically of the team in big moments, right? I love Teoscar Hernandez. I love him. I wish the Phillies would have got him. But that's what I'm talking about with the Phillies, man. You can't be, oh, we got to pay Schwarber. No, dude, you actually don't have to. You don't have to because sometimes it may be the lesser guy that's actually going to prove more valuable and allow you to bring a couple younger guys up. So I want everybody to think about that. So Chuck checking in, Dodgers fan too. Even though we won, I hate the way it happened. You guys are so scary and talented. I would change much. I'm guessing, Chuck, did you mean to say I wouldn't change much during the off season? Because I want to respond to you, but I want to make sure if you're saying you would change much or you wouldn't change much. I'm assuming you're going to say you wouldn't change much. Right. Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought. I will disagree with you a little bit. And this is why. And again, I really appreciate you checking in. Again, any Dodger fans, bring them in, man. You're more than welcome. Let's hash this out. And one thing that Chuck says is so important. I hate the way it happened. I would feel the same way. If we were on the other end and we were going to game 5 because, Sasaki messed up hey, listen. Hey, Chuck, think about what was it? Game 2, right? Game 2, Freddie Freeman saved it, right? With that play. I would have hated if we won that way. Like when Tommy Edman threw it over and he fell off the bag. And like I would say, wait, like, yeah, okay, great, we won, but I would have hated that it ended that way. But right, exactly. A grand slam homer would it be exactly. I agree. But here's what I want to address your comment about I wouldn't change much this all season. I was going to tell you why I disagree. And I'd love to hear your stance on it if you can kind of talk about if it was the Dodgers, right? If you won the World Series last year and you deserved to win the World Series last year. But if you didn't and you consistently got to the World Series with the same players, same players, right? With the same approach, wouldn't eventually you have to say, you know what, man, this isn't working as much as we can be scary at times, as much as people can fear us at times. Wouldn't you think to yourself and say, you know what? I think we need to change. I think we need to change approaches here because it's just no matter what we do, it's not working, right? I mean, am I wrong? That's the way I look at it, right? That's the way I look at it. So again, think about if you didn't win the World Series last year and you always went after the high price talent and say that high price talent never produced in the all season. Say you went out and you signed Teoscar to a huge deal and he didn't work out. And then obviously you trade for Mookie Betts and you sign to a big extension, it doesn't work out. Freddie Freeman, don't just say it didn't all work out. Wouldn't you finally say maybe we shouldn't go after these high price guys and do a little mix and match? That's the only reason why I say that I'm ready to change this offseason approach. Like Javon's a Philly guy with me. He says if the Phillies don't bring back Schwarber, they could go after a guy like Ryan O'Hearn to fill that DH spot. Completely agree. Completely agree. Like I think that you have to look at multiple things. Got to look at what do you do with Alec Bohm? Alec Bohm is going to make a shitload of money. Do you allow him to make that here or somewhere else? Kyle Schwarber is going to make a shitload of money. Do you allow him to make it here or make it somewhere else? Right? And I keep bringing this back, man. Like sometimes it's the energy of the new guys and the young guys that take it. Think about the trade deadline. Harrison Bader changed the entire energy level of that clubhouse. One guy, new guy, came from a different organization, right? Brought his energy into that clubhouse. Completely changed, right? Completely changed it. Well, what do you think a guy like a J.P. Crawford and an Aiden Miller and an Andrew Painter may be able to do? Sometimes you need that different pivot, man. You need that different sense of energy because it just becomes stagnant. Everything becomes stagnant. Um, Thanks, Chuck. Yeah, yeah, I agree. Now that Chuck, 100% agree. Keep your pitching and look at the lineup. The pitching, unfortunately, we're going to lose Ranger Suarez. I think we all know that. Ranger Suarez is going to get paid. Now he's going to get paid big money. Now, I don't know. Javon, here's a good one for you. Would you pay Ranger Suarez? I mean, when you think about it, would you pay Ranger Suarez? I don't know. Like it's crazy. Like when you think about it. Like if you had to make a choice, you say, screw it. You sign a guy like O'Hearn, you let Schwarber go. Right? You're saying trade, but yeah, I mean trade. I think you have to. I think you have to trade because here's the problem. It's going to be a dead year for Alec Bohm because he's going to be tendered an arbitration contract number for 1 year, and then he's going to walk because he's going to command big time money for third base market value. And the Phillies, I don't obviously listen. I don't think they're willing to give it to him. They weren't happy with his attitude multiple times. Right, so I don't think they would be. I don't think they would be in it. So saying we're going to commit to this guy long term. I don't. I think they would have done it already. The Phillies, the Phillies normally in this day and age, they used to do it a long time ago, but I don't think they haven't done it recently where they consistently go to multiple arbitrational years, right? They usually try to extend somebody 2 or 3 years, and there's a reason why they keep doing this with Bone because they don't want him back long term. I mean, it's very simple. It's the reason why they had him on a trade block, right? So I think there's a ton of changes that, and I think the players know it. Players are professional enough that they know it. Chuck says, "Oh God, you know, you could not be more right, Chuck." And I hate Kiki Hernandez, and I say that in a respectful way because he's a long list of guys that are the guys that kill you on the other team that aren't the household names. The Mark Lemke's, the Cody Rosses, the Tommy Edmonds, and you just happen to have him too, right? These are the guys that show up that in these series and make plays when you least expect it because you're right, they're unfazed. You know what? They're unfazed by the pressure, Chuck. They got nothing to lose, right? Like, think about it. They got nothing to lose. They're not big money players. They're not trying to give an ROI on a $300 million contract. They're just going out there and say, "Yo, I got nothing to prove. I'm just out there to ball. I'm out there to play ball, man." And I love it. I listen. I love it. Those guys are what make your team, right? Those guys are what make your team. And I'm speaking to you specifically, talking to the Dodgers. That's what made because I'm going to be honest with you. I am not a big fan of Dave Roberts. I don't think he's a great manager. Honestly, I don't. I think he makes a lot of mistakes, and he's bailed out with them. Like I have no idea, like why he brought in Tehran the other night. I mean, he let us get that energy. I don't know why he kept Kershaw in. Like there were so many bad moves to me for him that could have cost you guys. But I love losing Bader. Man, that was tough. What that was tough. And Will Smith, I love Will Smith. Will Smith's a hell of a player, man. Guy battles and battles and battles. I mean, I was watching that 9, 10 pitch at bat by Will Smith. I mean, he's just a good baseball player, man. Like you got to have just good baseball players on your team. Good, energetic, knowledgeable baseball players. It's a lot of people need, man. A lot of people need them. And again, they're the players. It's funny, Chuck. It's like they're the kind of guys that we always talk about that become the great managers, not the superstars, right? Like Tommy Edman will probably be a great manager one day. Kiki Hernandez will probably be a great manager one day. Like, he'll be a guy like a Walt Weiss. He'll be a guy um uh who else you got? Like a Bruce Bochy, right? Who by the way, hey Javon, if you tell me I could trade Rob Thompson for Bruce Bochy, can I do that like yesterday? Can I do yes. Rojas. Rojas will be he will definitely be one. Definitely. I listen again. There's a lot of those kind of players that they're going to be whether they're bench coaches first or they're going to be managers, man. They are going to be managers. And I will say this about managers. I forget his name, but I loved the Toronto manager. The Blue Jays manager, I'd ride with him any day. I'd ride with the Blue Jays manager any day, man. I love I love the way he talks. I love the way he's real. He's authentic. He's transparent. He's not trying to sugarcoat nothing. I love it. I love it. Yeah, Chuck says once you win, The pressure's off. You need a breakthrough. Yep. Dave can't. Yep. Dave can't handle pitchers. I win out of my mind. Oh, dude, I am telling you. I bet you did. I couldn't believe it. Like honestly, like I could not. When I was telling my wife, I was like, this guy stinks. Why is he bringing him in? I'm like, he's giving us a gift to get back into this game. And that's what we did. We tattooed this guy. It's crazy, man. Yep. That's a great statement. And Chuck, guess who Joe Torre was a mentor for? Rob Thompson. Right? Rob Thompson. But unfortunately, Rob was managing our bullpen like he had Mariano Rivera. He didn't have that bullpen. I mean, like it's just it's so crazy because you sit here and you watch the game of baseball and you watch so quick how things can change. And coming into this series, I highly like I resent the fact that people told me that I overlooked the Dodgers because I didn't. But you just think about a couple plays in each game and how we could be differently. Like I don't know who would have won, but I definitely think we would have been I definitely thought this was going to be a 5-game series. Like I thought we were going to split in Philly and split in LA. I did. I thought we were going to win game 1. I thought LA was going to win game 2. And then I thought LA was going to win game 3. And then I was predicting the Phillies to win the last 2. I did. And again, either team could have won, but again, maybe it was me being a homer, but I just thought that they weren't going to let the Arizona thing happen again, but they did anyway. They just didn't make it home. Right? They just disappointed again. They just disappointed again. The game of baseball will constantly evolve. Oh man, breaking news. This sucks. Sister Jean dies at 106. Breaking news, reported by The Athletic, that the beloved Loyola University Chicago ambassador, obviously, their good luck charm and everything. She wrote again, it started in 2018, has died at 106. God bless her though. 106. I don't even know if I want to live to 106. Like seriously, I don't even know if I want I don't know if I want to live to 106, but God, Sister Jean, rest in peace. Javon says, yes, John Schneider. There you go. Speaking of the Jays, yep. Hoffman and Sir Anthony going to the ALCS. Ain't that crazy? That is so nuts. Yamamoto wasn't himself last night from the jump, even though he held them. Yeah, you could tell. He wasn't the same guy. I will say I thought the way he utilized the starters was brilliant. I gave that. I was talking to that, on my first show when I was freaking out that we went with Strom and Kirkering, and I was like, we went with the same old where Teoscar came in and hit that 3-run homer. Like I was there, I was at the game. What a buzzkill that was! But I was like, Dave Roberts did it right. Dave Roberts did it right. Dave Roberts said, my bullpen sucks. I'm just going to take my starters and I'm going to make them my bullpen, my main bullpen guys going in. It worked. It did. It worked. I'm curious to see what they do with a 7-game series, but in a 5-game series, man, he won the manager thing, man. He did, in my opinion. The man checking it says class act. Who we talking about? Who we talking about? Class act. Chuck says bullpen carrier slash. Yeah. And speaking of the bullpen, here's another thing. And I know if Javon, you're still watching, if there are any Philly people in here, I want to answer the question. Chuck talks about the bullpen that carried the Dodgers last year, and the guy that closed out the World Series was Walker Buehler. Why the hell did we keep Walker Buehler again if we weren't even going to freaking use him? Dude never even warmed up. The dude never even warmed up. Like, you mean to tell me that Walker Buehler couldn't get an inning? We watched what Dave Roberts did, And what he did was he took his starters and he turned them into highly leveraged bullpen pieces in high leverage situations. Why the hell did we do that with Walker Bueller? In game one, you didn't use Ranger. Okay, well, why didn't you use Walker Bueller? It was very odd to me. And again, and this will be the ultimate downfall of Rob Thompson by just sticking with his guys no matter what. Like he would stick with his guys. No, that's my guy. That's what I'm riding with. I listen, Rob. I respect it. You're a player's manager. I get it. I understand it. But at the end of the day, I mean, you eventually got to read the room. Yeah, Javon, exactly. He says, "I'll take Walker Bueller and Tyle Walker over Shump any day of the week." How come and again, no Tanner. Tanner Banks is your best lefty out of the pen all year. All year. And that's a great point. Like, how does Tanner Banks not get in a situation? I think he came in for one hitter this entire stretch. And I again, Javon, it's the same thing. We continue to say Topper has a script, he has his paper. It's like, hey, I'm Nick Sirianni. I have or Andy Reid, I have 10 scripted plays. We're gonna do them no matter what. And that's the way it's gonna go. And unfortunately, I feel like that's the way he managed, man. It's unfortunate. It is. Chuck says Roberts had to wear out our bullpen this year with all our stars out most of the year. Visa, Bond, and Dryer were you know what? You did have tons of injuries, man. You did have a ton of injuries. So if Bueller had to get you out of an inning in the clutch, he would do it on it. Exactly. See, this is Chuck's a Dodgers fan. He knows he had. That's all I understand. You talk about a guy like I understand that Rob Thompson said that Kerkering was a guy that he really liked the way he handled himself like the last month excuse me. Last month or last couple weeks of the season, but you got a veteran pitcher, a guy who pitched in the World Series, a guy who's been around and knows how to get an out if he has to. And Chuck makes a great point. If he had to get you out of an inning in the clutch, he would do it on his guts alone. I agree. I agree. Yeah, Javon, we brought that up last night, right? Like, except at least Doc Rivers won something. I mean, that's a coach, whether it was an all-star team or not in Boston, but at least he won something. It's a shame, man. It's a shame. I mean, listen, the sad part is that this is gonna eat at us. And I don't even know how I can invest again. If this same lineup comes back, I'm out. I can't do it. Like I was sitting there tonight, like I was pacing, I was up, I was down. I invested 4 hours of my night. Um, you know, and I look at that and I say, I'm a guy who works like 10 jobs because I love it, because I don't want to work for anybody. So I work for myself. And I do freelance jobs and I do PR work and I do radio work, stuff like that. But I could have been doing so many different other things. And I invested in exactly what I didn't want to invest in before. And I said to myself, I wasn't going to allow it to get me. I wasn't going to allow it to invest. And I did. And here I am again, disappointed because the Phillies choke again in LA. It's crazy. Oh man. See you checking in. See you checking in on the late night. Says who's winning the NFC East, Tony. Um, you know what, see ya? I'm gonna be honest with you, man. You know, I know it's a good pivot to football here for a second, but after what I saw tonight, it just with the Eagles, it kind of just it cements the fact in me that there's something definitely internally going on with the Eagles. And I said it last week, and I said it's not fixable. And I don't think this is fixable, man. And I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. So who knows, man? Honestly, I mean, honestly, who knows? This could be a monumental collapse. This could be, and again, I know we're not 7-0, so it's not going to be like that. But I mean, we all know you come off a Super Bowl, and obviously it's hard, right? And they're dealing with a ton of adversity when it comes to injuries. But I I don't know, man. I do not feel like there's a- I don't feel confidence that the Eagles are right now. I just don't. I will say this, and I know it's not going to be the Giants, but I loved their energy tonight, man. They played like there was nothing to lose. That spark plug and Scatterboo on the sideline, man, like he was getting everybody's ass. He was having a good time. Again, man, my man, yo, my man, Albert checking in. He says, "Great show. The Eagles' offense has no identity and lacks creativity. It's crazy, man. It's crazy, Albert. It's absolutely crazy. It's zero creativity, zero identity. I really, I just don't understand how a team can't run the ball anymore. We're so dominant, and now just can't run the ball. It's crazy, crazy to me." Javon says the Phillies core lacks heart and passion. Yeah, you know, I I I don't, I don't know if I 100% agree with that. I don't know. Um, I don't know. I got to think about that, Javon. I definitely got to think about that. The OC, the OC, this OC thing, Albert. I just number one, I know everybody. It's easy for us to quarterback this, right? Monday morning quarterback it. But even if, look at my man see it checking out, checking in, subscribe to this channel if you're new. Yes, please. Anybody new, everybody checking in. I mean, we listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. Before I go back to Albert and Chuck for a second. Um, I started this a while ago. I'm happy, like legitimately, because I don't buy followers. I don't do any of that. I've fought like 510 on this channel and I love it. Uh like leave to like guy. All right, Chuck, you gotta help me out, brother. I know you're typing. I know it's late. What are you trying to type there? Leave Tony a like guy. Oh, leave Tony a like, guys. I got it. Yeah. All right. Yeah. I got it. Perfect. Yeah. Now listen, and again, Chuck's new. Chuck just came in tonight, and he's a Dodgers fan. I hope to continue to have Chuck because here's the thing: I don't just talk. That just everybody knows. Checking in right now. This show is not just Philly, right? It's not just Philly. So yes, I am a Philly guy. I will always bleed green, right? All the time. So I'm a Philly guy. But I talk about everything. Sia knows that. Albert knows that. Chuck, you're gonna realize that. Like I'm a sports historian. So I love talking 90s basketball. I love talking, 90s football, 90s baseball. I love going back. I like talking to national. The most fun I had was I hosted on Sirius for 3 years. And that was the most fun I had because I could talk to a national audience. So this is the second best thing right here is to be able to talk to a national perspective. And I don't hate on anybody that way. I like everybody's perspective and I like to have professional debates and those we can understand each other, man. For real. I love it. So yes, thank you. See you. I appreciate it. But Albert, yeah, to get back, I will get back. The thing that kills me is even if that's a hard job, I hate that whole identity shit. We have to find an identity. Sorry. When did you hire Kevin Patullo again? Not to mention, he was obviously an internal hire. So when did you promote Kevin Patullo again? And how long has Kevin Patullo been with the Eagles organization? He doesn't know. And how many offensive players changed on the Eagles? Zero. So what identity are we looking for? No, man, you just can't call plays. Maybe the job is too big for you, right? And again, are we willing to sit around and find out? I don't know. Chuck says, my 12-year grandson is a huge Eagles fan. I'm getting him to Philly someday for a game. Good luck. You have a great show. I'm going to subscribe and check it sometime. Chuck, my man, I greatly appreciate it. If you're still on, if you ever come to Philly, and listen, even if you don't want to go to a game, man, I can give you a couple spots to go like watch a game. Again, and I'd love to meet you there, grab you a drink, have a sandwich with you, and talk to your grandson, just talk sports, man. So you let me know, man. Keep following this channel. I love meeting people, man. I do. Robert says, tough time breeds tough men. Keep your chins up. We got to work through this. Phillies are missing a clutch hitter. One run in 11 innings just isn't enough. Go Sixers. Robert, I would be curious to know how much confidence you have in the Sixers. But I agree. Phillies are missing a clutch hitter, and it's a shame. And that's why I don't think they need to. That's why I think they shouldn't be bringing back Kyle Schwarber, because obviously they need to spend that money in other areas. Just my opinion. Just my opinion. The Eagles have so much talent. It's crazy, Albert. I don't get it. I don't get it. I really don't. Sirianni it's going to regret hiring Patullo. They needed an outside voice who brings innovation, creativity, and maybe been an OC before like Kellen Moore. I completely agree. I mean, we've been down this path before with Brian Johnson, and now again, I don't know. It was this. I'm going to assume this was 100% a Nick Sirianni hire. I think that because he worked with him in Indianapolis and he felt comfortable with him, uh, but it just it's just not right. Like Javon, like something's just not it's not boding well with me, man. Something's not right. But I do agree that they should have brought in somebody that wasn't OC before, like a Kellen Moore, like what like Denver did. That who Denver bring in? I forget. They brought in somebody. Again, he was an offensive coordinator, somebody else. But I, I, I just, I just look at too many too many plays that aren't executed properly. That's never really happened. The Eagles are a pretty strict football team, and that just comes from just not mentally being all in. And the only reason why you're not mentally all in is because you're just not happy, right? And I don't mean like happy being in Philly. What I mean is maybe you're just not happy in the situation, what's going on, which could lead to the offensive coordinator. It is crazy, man. It's absolutely crazy that we're sitting here having this conversation. It's absolutely nuts. Absolutely nuts. But listen, everybody, as always, I'm gonna shut this down. Hour and 24. Tons of stuff. All right, you know what? No, before I do that, let me get into I didn't see all the comments coming in. Now we got Chuck says we love our teams. I'm used to losing. I'm a UCLA Bruins fan too. Albert says it's a great sports podcast, great knowledge, a patch, it's a must follow. Yeah, you know what? And the funny thing is, Albert, I don't even podcast. It's like I'm in a stage of trying to figure out exactly the direction. I want to get. I mean, obviously, if anybody checking in, I do a wonderful youth sports podcast, which is kind of like my baby and my passion, which is called Fighting for Overtime. So if you go check out and see it scrolling across, Fighting for Overtime, youth sports pods, real stories, real interviews with young athletes, with coaches. It's the good and bad when it talks to anxiety and achievements. Youth sports, so go check that out. But as far as this show, I really want to start getting more guests, like different guests, and different perspectives on as well, making this I'm actually working on a structure, making this kind of like a 2-hour show to make it more like a radio show. So I appreciate it as always, Albert. Um, Vegas second in says, I remember when Bruce Bochy played catcher for the Las Vegas Stars. Wow. Bruce Bochy with the Las Vegas Star. Vegas is going way back. My man, Chuck. Good night, yo. Have a great night, Chuck. I appreciate you checking in. Robert says the job was handed to him to eat. Yes. Yes. I agree. 100%. Thus says we'll do good. Yeah, have a great night, Chuck. I appreciate it, man. Seriously. Javon checking in says, um, Joe Lombardi. Yes. Denver has Joe Lombardi as their OC. Again, another guy. And I think that he came, I forget where he came from, but I think he was experienced. Vegas says, have a good night. Good luck with your bets of fantasy. Yes. Yo, the alternative edge will be live on tomorrow night, talking some bets. Obviously, powered by BetQL and Odd Shopper Tales. So we'll get into that. My man Blake Dodger fan. Oh, Blade. Listen, man. It I mean, yeah, it sucks that we lost. I wish it would have went 5, to be honest with you. It would the loss wouldn't have hurt any less. Right? But there were some really good moments, man. Like I will be honest with you. I was at game 1, and man, that Teoscar Hernandez just ate me up because number 1, I called it and I hated that I was right. I just felt it. You could see it collapsing right there, and I was like, wow. Um, but it was a very frustrating series for us in Philadelphia, and because of the way our lineup did, had a lack of production and didn't produce. And Blade, the one thing I'll say, because he's checked in, so I want to make sure before we close things down. It's like your guys. What I respect is they found a way. Like, even when Christopher Sanchez, like I brought up this earlier, Blade, like even when Christopher Sanchez was just dealing it, was filthy, right? Kiki Hernandez got up there with a good at bat and found out a way to hold back on a changeup and get a hit. Teoscar Hernandez found out a way to hold back and get out there for a hit. Our guys are just up there flailing. Our guys are just up there flailing. Like, not like, and that's the problem. That's the problem. That's what killed me. No adjustment. You know what, Vegas? I love that you checked in with that. So he says, how is Gia doing? So I'll give you a quick update because I was going to be putting an update out this weekend. So I just actually got an email today that she is home. Surgery went well. She was on a lot of painkillers, obviously. Brain surgery, no joke. So just give you a little backstory. Good luck Gia is the hashtag. Good luck Gia. I did a stream last week because when I do the U Sports podcast, which is Fighting for Overtime, and again, I'm going to keep plugging it, Fighting for Overtime. Go check it out. It's on all formats. Fighting for Overtime. It's a U Sports podcast. And I had a lot of people, a lot of requests. I had somebody email me to let me know that there was a girl, 14-year-old girl, that was going in for brain surgery, and she she knew she had to get brain surgery, but it wasn't something like she had to get it like in 5 weeks. She could have put it. She had to postpone it a little. She could postpone it a little bit, and she did that just so she could finish out softball season because she knew that. I mean, let's be honest. When you get brain surgery, depending on how severe it is, sometimes you have to learn a lot of different things all over again, right? So her fear was she may never play softball again. So, number one, she's a trooper for doing that. And I did a stream on it just to raise awareness around Gia and let Gia know that we're pulling for her. And I want to raise awareness around her situation and what was going on. So the update is I found out that she is home. She is in a lot of pain. They're doing some fundraising for her, specifically around the team and her organization. She was supposed to go to one, but obviously she's not up to it. So, but she is home. She is working through some pain. But again, yeah, she's getting there. So, but I will do some updates around that, Vegas, for sure. ESPN or Oprah needs to hear about her. Yeah, a lot of people have told me stuff like that, and I definitely want to use my voice to push those kind of stories to those venues. So yeah, they definitely it will definitely be pushed somewhere when it comes to that for sure. Prayers for Gia. Thanks, Albert. Definitely, man. Like, and again, I here's the thing: I don't even know Gia, right? I don't know Gia. She plays in a softball league that's local in my community. That's not it's not the community that I'm in, but a neighboring community. And somebody had sent me the information. So my plan is, and I told the family and the friends that my plan is I would love, when she it could be, listen, I don't know, it could be years from now. I don't know. But the plan is to hopefully have Gia uh, on the program side by side with me and talking about her success story, how she beat, this disease. And what I found out is actually a hereditary disease that she has. Her one sister went through like 50 surgeries already. So just shout out to the family and shout out to Gia, man. Good luck. Hashtag good luck, Gia. As always, we're definitely pulling for her for sure. For sure. But listen, as for me, I'm gonna get out of here. Hour and a half strong. We went, listen, man. It's been unbelievable. We had like 165 to 200 live viewers at one time, which I greatly appreciate. If you're not liking or subscribing, I'd appreciate it. Like and subscribe. You will see that there's an enormous amount of content on this channel. Yeah, enormous. Whether you want to talk fantasy, whether you want to talk sports betting, whether you want to talk about national, whether you want to talk about youth sports, whether you want to talk about Philly, whatever you want to talk about, I cover it all. Go check out the Blades and Fade segment too. And I want to prop that out there because it's actually a father and son, which is me and my son, who wants to get into the fantasy sports business. While he's in barber school. He's an aspiring barber. We just started his new brand called the Major Edge. His name is AJ. And the reason why we did Major was we put AJ in the middle as his brand. So he wants to, he's going to cut hair during the day and talk fantasy at night. That's his goal. So we started a Blades and Fade session that we do every week. It's about 10 minutes. Go check him out, man. Give him a shot. He's doing really well. I'm really proud of him. He's learning, he's doing some research, he's throwing some stuff out there. Not easy to do, and I'm definitely proud of him for that. So, again, I this channel, I'm an animal. I do a lot of different things. So I just love the microphone. I love talking to people. I love sports. I love people. So that's who I am. I greatly appreciate it. If you're new, checking into the show, like I said, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. We greatly appreciate it. That's how I get support. I can keep this thing growing. For sure. Vegas says, find out who our hero is. Have that wow. Wouldn't that be amazing, right? Wouldn't that be amazing? I do know some pretty predominant softball players professionally that maybe that could definitely be an option. Vegas, that could definitely be an option. We shall see. Hopefully, Vegas, you go 6-0 this week. How's that? Hopefully, you go 6-0. For sure, for sure, for sure. But as always, I'm gonna get out of here. I hope everybody has a fantastic night. And last thing I'll say, I'm gonna close it out with this because I started with this. I want to close it out with this. The play sucked. The ending sucked. Orion Kerkering choked. It was a big moment and it was a disappointment. However, that doesn't give anybody the right to treat Orion Kerkering as less of a human being. Let's not attack his character. Let's not attack him as a person. If you want to attack him as a player and saying he should know, but that's fine. I get all that. But just remember something. He understands. Just like Bill Buckner understood, Ryan Kerkering understands. But again, at the end of the day, there was a lot of things that led up to that moment that it never should have got to. That's where I'm gonna rest there. I'm gonna keep it there. The Phillies again, blow it up. They choke again. Kudos to you for saying this. Listen, DBS, 100% true, man. It's 100% true. Uh, I say this, and I say this wholeheartedly because mental health is huge. Listen, man, I see a therapist every 6 weeks. I go through my own struggles, right? I go through my own struggles. Life, job, employment, right? Marriage, kids. I go through all that. We all go through that, right? Some of us handle it well, some of us don't. I was a very angry individual at one time, and I couldn't figure out why. And I was in a few toxic environments, and my mental health was affected, and I had to go get help, and I did. And you know what? I still to this day, and I love it to have somebody to talk to and have an unbiased opinion. But the only reason why I say that is to tell everybody, like, nobody's Superman. We're all human beings. And this dude's 24 years old. Not that that should matter. But what I'm saying is, like, he's 24 years old. He's had a whole career ahead of him, right? Let's just not symbolize his whole career over one play. Let's just not do that. Okay? Let's just not do that. It's not right. It's not people just get way out of hand, right? They get way out of hand, way over the line. I mean, if you looked at that kid, he was physically affected, physically impacted. He was standing in front of his locker room, and hats off, man. Hats off to Orion Kirkering for standing in front of his locker room and taking questions and admitting he screwed up. Why he's got tears in his eyes, still doing it. He doesn't need you calling him an idiot. He doesn't need to make him sound inferior. He doesn't need you saying he lacks intelligence. No, man. Listen, I will challenge anybody who says that to tell me that they're freaking perfect. And tell me that they've always come through in any situation. Tell me they've never fallen short and they're lying through their friggin' teeth. Okay? Because that's what people do in this world. They lie behind computer screens, right? They lie behind computer screens. That's what they do. They type, they get all those comments up, right? Come on, man. They never look themselves in the mirror and realize that they're not perfect either. Again, we're pissed. We're disappointed. But again, man, leave the dude alone. Seriously. Yes, he's beating himself up more than exactly. And DBS, that was my point. You think he doesn't know he's screwed up? Dude, he's never going to live that down. And honestly, he may never be the type of pitcher he wants to be again because of that. May never. It may never go away. Isn't that enough? It sucks, but isn't that enough? Like I listen, I don't want to get long-winded here, but I'm gonna keep this going for a second because I personally listen, man, I remember twice. Happened to me twice. Okay, twice. So I played baseball as a teenager. I wasn't the best baseball player. I was a bench guy. I was a role player. I had a tremendous arm for the outfield, but I wasn't a great hitter. So had my limitations. Well, there was one game I I I vividly remember because it was the last game I ever played because I hung it up after this. And I had my chance in the sun 2 times. We were in a one-run game. I came up with the bases loaded 2 times and struck out. And back then, I mean, I'm 47 right now. So we're talking over 30 years ago. Back then, bullying wasn't as rampant as it is right now, but it was rough for me. The eyes, the comments, the isolation. I remember. I never played again. Never played again. Still haunts me to this day. I still remember who the pitcher was. I still remember where I was in the batter's box. I still remember swinging at high heat because I was so scared and nervous, and that moment was way too big for me. But I had to go in because the coach had nobody else, and he had to put me in. Sucks. Still beat myself up over it. So if I'm beating myself up over something that happened over 30 years ago, same thing's going to happen to Ryan Kirkering. And I hope the kid gets over it. I do. I hope the kid gets over it because he seems like a good kid, comes from a good family, and he's not a guy who pops off at papers. He's not a guy that gives attitudes. It looks like a guy who just wants to go about and do his business and work hard, trying to get better. So, listen, Orion, it is what it is, man. That play sucks. Yes, you screwed up. And I don't want to say screwed up, right? He just fell short. In the moment, just fell short in the moment, man. Vegas says Tony Soprano of YouTube. Yeah, I like that. I like that. I'm a Dodgers fan, and to be home, this could have gone either way. To be honest, but it's not the pitcher's fault that Philly lost. That poor guy's going to live with that play forever. I pray, Eddie. I swear, man. Me, you thinking the exact same way, right? And the ironic thing is, what would have happened if he goes to first and the player's safe? Like, what do you think would have happened? And again, I know the way the footage looks, he would have been out. I get it. Like, I understand that. What I'm saying is, what would have happened if he was safe? You know damn well. Why did he go home? Game's on the line. You already know what would have happened. It would have happened. I'm telling you, it would have happened, man. It would have happened. So yeah, I absolutely pray that he moves on. I do. Like, moves on from that moment, I should say. So I need to make sure that people, understand that, guess what? Things happen, right? Things happen. And it just sucks the way that went down. Even goats mess up. Babe Ruth got thrown out trying to steal, which ended the World Series. 1926. Wow. It's the only time. Look at that. I love this. We're talking. We're got baseball history right here in the threads. I love it. Uh, I was in the ninth row. Vegas says for that game, and DBS says it's the only time a World Series ended on a caught stealing. Wow, unbelievable. Sorry, this is what we do when we're live, man. That's what we do when we're live. My son's texting me because I get worried. I don't see him 1:15 in the morning. Like, yo, bro, you good? Yeah, he's probably just talking. But yeah, he's like, yeah, I'm good. Okay, just making sure. Don't worry, he's 20. He's not a young buck, but I mean, yeah, he's a young buck, but still. Javon says the moment with Kirk reminds you of the raw emotion we saw from Embiid and Javon. Embiid's never been the same, right? He's never been the same. And that's what I'm talking about. I think we sometimes forget that, even though, and I know we can't relate to them because we don't live in their world. However, if you take the money out of it, you take the fame out of it, they're a normal person, man. Honestly, they're a normal person. Like, I don't and I think that the rationale of, well, they get paid and they need to take the heat. I listen. I'm not saying that they shouldn't take heat. I just think that the way people produce the heat is a little unwarranted at times. That's all I'm saying. Right? That's all I'm saying. Like, I just think it's insane. Um, it is. I just think it's crazy. Are you still trusting? I haven't trusted the process in 4 years, man. 4 years. That Vegas, that game that Javon speaks of, that was the last opportunity we had to win. After that, it was over, man. It was over. My man Eddie says, "Thank you for your show. Keep up the great work. Have a good night, Philly." Eddie, my man, thanks, brother. I appreciate it. I do. I appreciate everybody that checks in. I don't care if you're a Philly fan, Dodgers fan. It doesn't matter, man. Again, I talk everything on this channel. So It'd be great if you like and subscribe and come back. And when we're talking about WNBA and we're talking about the stupid LeBron decision 3.0, or we're talking about all that stuff, because I'd love the interaction with everybody on things like that for sure. I do have a top three I want to start doing, so that's going to be some fun. It's going to be a top three, but it's not just going to be like, hey, who's your top three quarterbacks? Who's your top? Like when I do top threes, like I want to go back like to like specific years and like who was the best, like who was your big three in '92 and why? Like meaning like who was your I love the Ice Cube concept of the big three. So I always, when I was on, one of the things I used to do on Sirius on when I was hosting was I would love to do, give me your, when we would talk NBA, like I want a big three. I want to build big threes. And I don't want like big three ever. That, because I think that we talk about that way too much, that it needs to be in errors, right? So I've always, the way I want to do my top threes is basically look at years. Could be even individual errors, maybe not be specific years, but could be even teams. Out of the '90s, who was your top three? Top three Minnesota Timberwolves. Who was your top three LA Lakers? Like stuff like that. Like I like to do that so we can build and do things like that, man. I think it would be fun. And he says, I just subscribed. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. Definitely. DBS says, I know we moved past this, but no, bring it up, please, man. I love this. He says, and this is where Babe Ruth got caught stealing. He says, uh, Grover Cleveland Alexander was pitching, Lou Gehrig on deck, and tagged out by Roger Hornsby. Wow. Like I would have at 1926, man. 1926. We're going back on this show. I love that. Obviously, I knew nothing about this. You guys just gave me a history lesson in baseball, which I absolutely love. That's the thing, man. Like I'm not this guy just comes on and screams and yeah, I'll get my moments, but I love talking the history of these sports. I do. I love it. DBS, thanks so much for those details, man. Yeah, Vegas, I agree. There's some amazing names right there. Wow. I remember it like it was yesterday. And Vegas said he was sitting in the the ninth row. Vegas was sitting in the ninth row. How about that? My man. Sitting in the ninth row. I dig it, brother. I dig it. That means, if in 1926, wow, I was in ninth. Are you're 100? You're 99 years old, Vegas? Come on, talk to me. You're messing with me, man. You're messing with me. Tell me I'm not. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. Am I reading that wrong? If you were at that game, yeah, I'll be 119 tomorrow. You're in the Guinness Book of World Records, brother. You're in the Guinness Book of World Records. Oldest man ever. Uh, Great story by DB. Yeah, man. Albert, I had no idea. I definitely, and that's, see, this is what sports is about, right? And that's why I love sports, because it's not always about ragging on the current product. It's about bringing up these situations that we forget. Because, like, listen, I love going back, and one of my biggest knocks on today's generation, and I try to breed this into my children, they don't look at yesterday enough. They just don't. They live in the moment, right? They live in the moment. They live for Steph Curry, right? They don't go back to Pistol Pete. They never, they live Antonio Davis, but they don't go back to Hakeem Olajuwon. And they never go back. So I love when we go back and we tell these stories. Ricky Sports fan, check it out. Hello, what's up, Ricky? How you doing? Are you a Phillies fan? Are you a Dodgers fan? I'm curious to know. Or maybe you're just checking in for some good sports conversation. How's that? Maybe Ricky's just checking in for some sports conversation. It is 1:25 a.m. on the East Coast. So, it's a little YouTube after dark. You never know who you're going to get, right? You never know who you're going to get on these streams at that time. Just never know. Just never know. But I got to get out of here because it's getting late. Um, again, I do this solo, so an hour and 50 minutes, almost 2 minutes, and I never took a break. How's that? Never took a break. I never took a break. Albert says, I saw a high school basketball game that featured Glenn Doc Rivers playing Isaiah Thomas. We were just talking about him, Albert. We're talking about, uh, unfortunately, we were talking about Doc Rivers because, obviously he came here in Philly and didn't win us anything. So it's almost like what we're dealing with right now, like with Rob Thompson. It's crazy, except Glenn Rivers, right? He actually won something with Boston. But that's a funny thing. Thanks, Vegas. I appreciate it. I bet, I bet, Albert, if we took a survey of how many people knew it was Glenn Rivers, not Doc Rivers, like back in the day, I bet you they wouldn't even know. Did Doc blow a 3-1 lead? I think he did, didn't he? I think he did. Hard loss for your Phillies, man. Good luck to you guys. Oh, thanks, brother. I appreciate it, man. And if you're a Dodgers fan, listen, I'm rooting for you. I don't care what anybody says. Like, I want the National League to win, and I'm always a tip the hat kind of guy. Like nothing that the Dodgers did for me. Now, I will say this, and I should have told this to Chuck before we get out of here. Like, I do despise Shea Otani, right? I won't say that. I'm not going to say he's any less of a player. I just don't. I don't want to get. I'm just going to say I'll get into that another day. But all I'll say is, I still think that whole betting story got swept under the rug by a great PR move. There's no way that you're letting your interpreter gamble away millions and millions of your dollars and you're not knowing, bro. It's sorry. I I I can't buy that at all. I can't buy that at all. So hats off to your publicist and the Major League Baseball for sweeping out under the rug. But besides that, I would like the Dodgers to win because I do. I'm a big Freddie Freeman guy. I like Freddie Freeman. I like a lot of those players on there because they're not cocky, arrogant players. Like, you don't have any Ronald Acuna Juniors on that team. You don't have no Orlando Arcias on that team, right? You don't have these guys that think they're bigger than the game. I think you have a very humble team, and they're just very good. So I would definitely cheer for them, for sure. Ricky says, "Who do you think is going to win?" I who now help me out, Ricky. Who won tonight? I know it was before I start doing this stream. It was 3-0. Uh, I know that the Brewers were up 2-1, but it was 3-0 Cubs. So I'm curious who won. But I'll tell you what, man, that Cubs energy is for real. It really is. So I think that if they could continue on that path, I think it's going to be the Cubs. I do. Yeah, there you go. They won 6-0. Come on, man. See, you always got to have somebody in the league, like somebody in the room, and I'm going to be nice, right? I'm going to be nice. Hideo, listen. First of all, come in here. Let's have a respectful conversation. Okay, respectfully. I honestly like everything except. Come on, shut your mouth about. I listen. I get maybe you're mad that I brought up Otani, and if I have no proof to stop it, he's the most humblest guy in the whole league. Listen, listen. I will ask you the same question that I ask everybody. If you were making, let's just make it easy. If you were making $100 million a year and you had an account and you had somebody taking care of your money, are you telling me that you wouldn't notice if $30 million was missing? Come on, man. Hey, like, let's be real about this. Like, I don't have proof. I don't. I have no idea. But what I'm saying is, you have to admit that listen, that was a major, major story. Okay? Let's think about this. I want to talk about this for a second because now you're going to keep me going here. Now you're going to keep me going here. Um, please, what I will say is, I don't know how old you are, Hideo, but let me ask you this: were you around for the steroid era? Like, were you invested in the steroid era? Right when Mark McGuire was battling Sammy Sosa, were you involved in that? And the reason why I ask you this is because let's think about it this way. Think about how big of a story it was when the steroid era was in play. Think about how big of a story it was. Everyday news. Every day. It never went away. So if that's the case, let me ask you why the Otani thing went away. Honestly, let me ask you that. Why did it go away that quick? Curious. I'm very, 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 very curious. Why did the Otani thing go away? That's all I'm saying. It went away real quick. So to me, that was a good PR move. 100%. Chris checking in. Fire Rob. Listen, it's time to move on, Chris. It's time to move on. I don't care. Rob's a good guy. I think, I like some of his stuff. Do I think it's fully on him? Nope. I don't, but he's got to go. Dombrowski has pinned the Phillies into a corner. Yeah. Well, remember, the Harper contract was not Dombrowski, right? Remember that. It was not Dombrowski. It was Matt Klintak. And Matt Klintak actually didn't want to sign that deal. John Middleton jumped on the private jet to personally tell Bryce Harper, we're going to give you what you want because we want you here. So that's a John Middleton move. I don't disagree with the Harper contract. I disagree with the Turner contract. So I will say that. Okay. And again, if you're just checking in live, like, subscribe, greatly appreciate it to the YouTube channel. This is where you're going to see all the content. And again, it's not just Philly. Okay. Talk about everything from sports betting to fantasy to it's all there. It's all there. So go check it out. I promise you, you'll find some really good stuff that we'll have conversations about. Vegas says circumstantial evidence is a thing. Otani is great, but the story makes zero sense. Absolutely. Trevor, what's up, my man? Trevor checking in. What's going on? Yo, my man, Rich checking in. We're doing late nights, man. So I've been 2 hours strong, brother. Been going 2 hours strong. Hell yeah, man. Let's keep it going. Screw it. Let's keep it going. Rich says it was good for baseball. Exactly. Couldn't afford to lose Otani. Just like they didn't shut down the race for the record, even though they knew everybody was juicing because it was good for the game. Right? Otani, good for the game. He's the cover boy to friggin' of the game. MVP 2-3 years ago. Come on, man. You know that. You know that. Vegas says because he was respectful and dope and has big money behind him. I mean, look, it's still an interesting conversation. Definitely. Road trip channel. Oh, my man, what's up? Somerset County, New York, Jersey resident here. I saw the last two innings of the game out of places in the Spanish network and Univision. Wow, it's very ridiculous. I like it. You are a Yankee fan. So ending was brutal. So the ending was brutal for both of us, huh? I mean, yeah, I was watching the game where Judge smashed that home run and brought, game 3. And yeah, and I was like, oh, maybe they can. Maybe the Yankees can come back. But that Toronto team is good, man. They're really good. So Yeah, hats off to you, man. It sucks that you're not playing anymore, and it sucks that we're not playing anymore for sure. And yeah, that was a brutal loss, man. A brutal loss. And like I said, I think we need to all take a peek on Orion Kirkering, man. Make sure my man's okay. I don't care what you say. It's still baseball, and he's a human being. Fire Topper, see you now. Need a new. Yup, Bruce Bochy. Bruce Bochy. Where can we get Bruce? I told a lot of people at the winner. Yep, agree, Ricky. I completely agree. I completely agree. The two best to me, they were the two best structured teams. Obviously, the Dodgers. I listen. I'm a realist, man. Like like yeah, that's the thing. People forget. Like I'm not one of those guys that doesn't look at the other perspective. The Dodgers were a fantastic baseball team. I mean, who would overlook the Dodgers, man? Defending champions, they deserve respect for real. So yeah, I felt the same way. Whoever was going to win this series is going to go to the World Series and eventually win it. Now, I will say, I do think that depending on what happens, like I said, depending on what happens, those Blue Jays, man, they look pretty good right now. We'll see what happens. Rich checking in says, "Yeah, plans for the golf course exactly." Go Dodgers. Elise, listen, yo, hats off, Elise, for real. Go Dodgers, man. Yep, go Dodgers. Respect. I'll give you respect. Cali dude says props to the Phillies pitchers. I appreciate that. Listen, man, it's props to all the pitchers. Honestly, and, and I'm a baseball guy, so yeah, I legitimately felt bad for Clayton Kershaw. I think that Dave Roberts just left that dude out there to dry, man. I thought that sucked. Honestly, like, come on, Dave. Like, come on, Dave. This guy's swan song, and you let them out there to rot. Like, I didn't like that at all. I didn't like that at all. But yeah, may have respect to the Dodgers pitchers as well. I mean, Blake Snell. Are you kidding me? Blake Snell pitched a damn gem. Like and I'll be honest with you, I don't like Blake Snell. I still hold it against him that he broke Harper's wrists a couple years ago. I mean, I kid though. I'm not saying I'll take anything away from him, but Blake Snell, the only problem, see, here's what people forget. The only issue Blake Snell ever had was health, right? It was always like we just need to keep Blake healthy. If we can keep Blake healthy, he's going to win us a World Series, no matter where he was, whether the Padres, the Dodgers, doesn't matter. And you saw what Blake was capable of. Man, that dude was locked in, called his own game. I loved it. I was like, damn, please get this guy out of here because we can't touch him. So, and I said this earlier, guys. Elise, I said this earlier. Cali, dude, I said it earlier that may have respect, even though I'm not a Dave Roberts guy, I don't think Dave Roberts is a really good manager. I do respect what he did to really fix your guys' bullpen. And I'll tell you, man, wow. I mean, god damn, was that by putting those starters in the bullpen like Glasnow and Sheehan, man, what a brilliant move that was. What a brilliant move that was, man. Like it made that bullpen so much stronger than the guys that were being overused. So yeah. Um Ricky says, yeah, Roke. Oh my god, Sasaki was ridiculous. That splitter that Jesus Christ. Like I was getting faked on it. Like literally, like I was getting faked on TV. So do you think the Cubs or the Tigers or the Mariners or the Blue Jays can beat the Dodgers in the World Series? I listen, if the pitching remains for the Dodgers, and I say this honestly, if the pitching remains the way it is, nobody is beating the Dodgers. Nobody. The Dodgers may not lose another game. I'm being dead serious. I'm being dead ass serious. If the Dodgers stay healthy, and you're right, Calendar, you said everybody hates on Roberts, but look, I just don't like some of his decisions. I think that the talent on his team offensively has bailed him out at times, right? Like, but if this team stays healthy, and I do, I hope that they do because I said this before. I don't think there's a bad dude on that team. Honestly, like I love the makeup of that team. I've said it before. I'll continue to say it for new people just checking in. Like I love Teoscar Hernandez. I love everything that dude's about. Right? I love Freddie Freeman. I love his story. I love the gritty plays of Tommy Edman. I'm a Mookie Betts guy. Always, I love Will Smith. Right? The very, very, very likable players on that Dodgers team. Very talented and very smart. Very smart. Very, very smart. So that's one thing I'll say. Very intelligent baseball team. Very intelligent baseball team. Um, so Elise says that I'm sorry, I just said Elisa. Elise says thanks, Phillies. They were, and I mean, especially this game. I mean, you talk about the battle back and forth, right? I mean, it was ridiculous, wasn't it? To watch Glass now, and then obviously battle with Sanchez, and then you got Sheen comes in and you battle with Duran, and then you have Sasaki come in battle with Lazardo. I mean, this was like I know a lot of people say boring because there was no hits, but I didn't care, man. It was a slugfest at the plate. Like one little mistake cost you the series, and it's exactly what happened. So yeah, it was great. Kelly Dude says Dodger fan here, and I was impressed. Yeah, I was impressed with everybody, man. Roberts did Kirsch bad. He really did him dirty. Ridiculous, man. He looked washed and it felt like Rich, I would have let him just finish. He finished that inning, was good. Why bring him back out? Like he had his day. He looked like he got the ovation. Like, why bring him back out, man? Like I was confused at that. I was confused. Says everyone hates on Rob. There's no better coach. Name it better. I don't know, man. Like again, I know you could probably say that, but I do think like strategically, maybe there's some better. I listen. I really love Bruce Bochy. I do. I hope that Bruce Bochy is the next Philly manager if they decide to move on from Rob. I do. I respect Dave Roberts, but he definitely doesn't make the best decisions at times, though. That I agree with. LA and 5 over the Brewers. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I would go sweep if the pitching's there, man. I do. I just think the Dodgers right now. You guys are just on another level right now. You really are. Hey Tony, at least the Phillies made it further than the Mets did. Yeah, I mean, look, you know, that's true because we always we we hate the Mets, right? We hate the Mets. I know, but it is what it is. It is what it is. But listen, I know I said this before, but I'm gonna say it again because when you do this kind of thing, I appreciate it, man. I just want to say everybody that everybody checking in. I could probably keep this going. We're at 2 hours and 8 minutes, 185 to 200 live viewers at all times. If you're checking in, again, like, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Like I said, this is not just Philly. I'd love to have people on, just so everybody knows checking in. A lot of people in the chat. What I will do, and I continue to do, I've done it before. I'm going to continue to do it in the past. I'm perfecting it, but um, the best thing about this platform that I use in StreamYard is it allows me to share the link to the show, which means, if you would like to call in and you would like to be on the air, you don't need a phone. I mean, you don't need a computer, you don't need a microphone. All you need is a phone. That's it. And literally I shared a link on the screen, you click the link, boom, audio, you go in the background, I put you up on the screen, we have a conversation. Let me know your point. So, I miss doing like for anybody just tuning in. I was a radio host for 3 years on Sirius, and I love the callers. That was the best part of the show. I did a Sunday show either from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Sunday mornings. I did 10 to 12 at night on Fridays. Also did 5 to 7 on Saturdays and did 9 to 11 on Sunday nights. And it was great. I always had callers. I loved it. Um Obviously commenting is great too, but I know some people like to talk and have conversations. So going forward, I'd love to get people on the air and talk about it, and everybody will hear us. Everybody hears us have a conversation for sure. Um, yeah, cool, cool. Oh, thank you. I appreciate. Listen, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Like, so that's where see that in the background. That's like where we do the live podcasting for the show. I got that set up. Um, Everything's soundproofed in here, but I will say the best thing is my wife is the decorator, so I just buy the stuff and she decorates it. So I gotta I gotta give her that, man. You're a nice guy. I listen, Elise, I try. I mean, you might get a difference of opinion. My nickname for people that don't know me yet, my nickname is Jigsaw. If you there's a ball right here that my goddaughter got spray painted for me that she knows I love Michael Jordan, which is there, it's the Wheaties symbol, right? And it's spray painted Jigsaw. So because I'm a very upfront and in your face personality. So maybe people may not say, hey, he's a nice guy, but no, all kidding aside, it's just I just like to have fun and I'm very energetic, and that's all. I'm very passionate. Until yeah, exactly until the jigsaw comes out. That happens, man. Hey, Tony, the Phillies on Peter Law. You know, I've seen this go around a few times. I don't know. Unfortunately, I think I want a complete different approach. I don't want. I want professional hitters, and what I mean by that is I just don't want to go after these big power bats anymore. I just think we need a whole change of approach. We really do. And again, because when those guys fall flat, it's bad. It's really, really bad. Definitely, definitely, definitely. But listen, everybody, I am definitely gonna get out of here. I appreciate everybody again. Yeah, everyone need yeah. So again, Vegas, I appreciate that. So I did look into that, by the way. I did look into that. But what I will say is, if you go on to the page and anybody for the time being, if they would like to support the show, I did create a link on there. It takes you directly to PayPal. And again, I'm not that kind of guy, right? But I had a couple people reach out to me again, and I said, all right, I will do it. Because again, I don't buy followers, I don't buy any of that. So if anybody would like to donate to the show, to obviously for me to for equipment, bring in other people, things of that nature. Hey, look, it is what it is, man. Like I know people do it, and listen, it's not needed, but some people like to do that, which is fine. So there is a link there. It goes you click directly on PayPal if you want to donate to the show and you want to support the show in that way. Greatly appreciate it. No need to do it, but greatly appreciate it if you do. And then maybe Vegas, when I get up to that, because right now we're at like 510 for subscribers. I know we're gonna get to that thousand soon. But if everybody needs 4,000, we're getting there, bro. We're getting there. Yep. Yeah. Yo, you'll get it, brother. You'll get it. The next show, if you want to hop on, Rich, obviously I will definitely send the link as always. But it's gonna work out for you in the future once you get those numbers. Yeah, we're getting there, brother. We're getting there. Have a good day, everybody. As always, I'm gonna get out of here. Like I said, man, it's been fantastic. We've had over 200 live viewers on the show, which is fantastic. We're continue to grow this channel and this content. It's basically going to be a community. Like I say, everything I do is a community. So we know each other. We talk back and forth. We have debates. We ask questions. We have some fun. Yeah, good morning. Exactly. It is morning. So, but everybody, as always, man, like I said, leave Orion alone. Stay safe, stay healthy. and catch you back here next time.